Come on, YouTube. What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube and Rumble subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush back at it again with another New York Giants just chilling pain call-in stream. What a long thing to say. All right, I gotta say something real quick that's been annoying me. Why is my camera washing out my face so much? I've put my ring light down to like the lowest setting. It is just pure white on my face. I have no idea what to do. If anybody got experience with it, it's not a stream yard thing, I think. When I'm in OBS, it does look a bit better, but yo, it's like, chill out, man. This is a low setting on the ring light, and it's just pure white out, man. It's ridiculous. But shout out to Mike Nixon in here. He's already in here. Mike always being one of the very first callers on the show. Sober Party and CJ Talks Movies in here as well. I did not get a chance to do the stream yesterday. I made a post about it. Super Tajiro, what up, man? How you doing? You know, I got the booster shot yesterday. I felt terrible yesterday, man. I felt like I had COVID all over again for a second. Pure pain, and not the type of pain that we usually discuss on the pain stream. So that kind of just knocked me out. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do a stream or any content for that matter yesterday. Got definitely a lot better today. And there's a lot of things to talk about with the Giants. Some things not so new, some things a little bit new. Rumors going around that John Dorsey may or may not be a minimize the StreamYard window. It's a good idea. Let's see. Does this do anything? I'll have to wait a second, I guess, to see on my YouTube side here. But yeah, you know, the rumors going around that John Dorsey may or may not be a legitimate candidate for the, I guess it did do something, actually. Oh my god, that might have been it, Max. You may be onto something. But yeah, so John Dorsey may or may not be a legitimate candidate for the Giants, or the Giants coaching job, I should say. We got, that was not the, I know there was another rumor floating around. And it has something to do with Joe Judge. It has something to do with Daniel Jones. The usual. Anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna have to go back to StreamYard for a second because I gotta pop the callers in. So I guess that's what I'll do. I'll switch to the StreamYard tab, pop callers in. You know, so then when it's time to pop callers out, pop them out. There's got to be a dark mode for StreamYard, y'all. This is ridiculous. Please tell me there's a dark mode. There's got to be a dark mode. How do you not have a dark mode? Cause I gotta stay here anyway. Mike Nixon, what's up, bro? How you doing? As I now switch out of the StreamYard tab, because that definitely was causing the whiteout, man. What's up, bro? You're
not much. Can we just take a little moment of silence for the late great John Madden?
Yes,
he passed away. 85 years old. All right. That's good. But
I will say, when I saw the news, I almost thought it was fake because I was like, Christmas just passed, and I know they just did that John Madden special. I was like, that is incredibly coincidental timing.
As I'm watching that right now on TV. But this team, bro, this team.
Yeah. Did I miss any rumors? I know that there was a John Dorsey rumor. I have a feeling I'm missing like at least two more.
The only thing I know about Judge and Jones is that they're potentially going to be back next year.
Yeah, everything's been all but confirmed with Judge and Jones. Oh yeah, this wasn't a rumor, but just, you know, a lot of speculation and reports on Saquon and the behavior of Saquon.
Yeah.
Skipping out on meetings and stuff like that as well. Or not meetings, you know, the questioning, the interviews, the press conference post game.
I kind of think that Jordan Marnon, I mean, don't get me wrong. That's not a good look in the captain, but
especially because he is. I mean, listen, we all know it's going to be compounded because he's Saquon, but specifically because he's a captain. No matter what, we're doing bad. Like he shouldn't. that shouldn't be a thing that he's doing, skipping out on those post game
but
conferences.
I mean, we're a terrible team right now, and the media is just gonna keep picking on people
Mm-hmm.
per se. But I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong, not a good look in for a captain. But I think Jordan Renan is kind of pushing it too far, too much.
What is exactly has he done? Because he's not the only person I've seen
I
that's
mean, I
talked about it,
mean
reported on it.
that's the only one I've seen
Mm-hmm.
was him. But I mean, he's not saying anything wrong. I just think that uh maybe just pushing it tad
Okay.
by like keep bringing it up
I mean,
and
it's only
stuff.
been what, 2 days?
Yeah.
So there's only so much I guess you could bring it up. But I do want to say shout out to Ash in here, CJ Sober Party. We got Vets in here. Welcome back, Max, of course, that helped me figure this out. And I will be figuring this out more because there's got to be. I mean, come on, guys. Can somebody look this up for me real quick? I obviously can't do it in the middle of stream. Is there a dark mode for StreamYard? Because I feel like that should be something so easy to implement. But yeah, it is
Yeah.
what it is. Go ahead. Oh, Ash said if he's trying to force a trade, he can go for a second round pick. Um, Wait, is that a rumor going around as well that Saquon's trying to force a trade? Oh no, Max just asked a question. That's what it was.
Man. I mean, I don't want to lose Saquon,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, he would kind of succeed somewhere else because apparently Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman don't like to fix the offensive line. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's only so much that Saquon can do when you have pretty much defenders on you as soon as you get in the backfield.
Yeah. And with fixing the offensive line, it's been beaten to a dead horse. This draft is one of the best to do it. But even
Hmm.
then, you look around the league with teams that have fixed their offensive line. It just speaks to the incompetence of the Giants, no matter who you want to blame, whether it's Judge, Gettleman, Mara. It just speaks to the incompetence of the Giants as a team and an organization as a
Yeah.
whole. When you see other teams
Hmm.
they fix it and they don't spend copious amounts of first round picks on it. They just draft well throughout the
Yeah.
draft and pick up people well throughout free agency.
Hmm. Which we did not do in last year's draft. What
Mm-hmm.
did we?
Well, we haven't done that. Come on, we haven't done that for 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, well, part of Gettleman, he tried. I'm not gonna sit here and act like he didn't try. He
Oh,
got Matt.
I'm not gonna do that either. It's just that he didn't fix it at the end of the day, right? Like Jerry Reese tried as well. We spent a lot of, or not a lot, but a good amount of draft picks on the offensive line when Reese was here. Weston Richburg,
Yeah.
Justin Pugh. I have Eric Flowers. The one wants to hear it. I'm pretty sure we drafted Bobby Hart as well. Like we drafted players, but just like Gettleman, we didn't fix them. What happened to Mike? I just noticed Mike popped out because I had my StreamYard tab away because this thing is washing out my face. And okay, Mike is back. Yeah, but did
I
you hear what I
am.
said, Mike, or was it cut out?
I kind of miss what you said.
I was just like, at the end of the day, they both drafted players. They didn't fix the line though,
Yeah,
and for sure, Max, I'll definitely love that.
I feel you. I feel you.
Hmm.
But I mean, are we gonna really come? I mean, complain about the first round this year because we do have an extra pick.
Well, I
May
mean, we're talking. Wait. I feel like we're changing subjects though, because we were just talking about just just fixing the line, which you brought up, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I mean, obviously, I want to fix the line, but I mean, we obviously have to fix the line.
mm-hmm.
In the same
But
sense, I
to the
understand.
first round point that you brought up though, Mike. Like I was saying though, you look around the league, teams are fixing it without spending copious amounts of picks
Yeah,
on the first round. So it's like no matter where you go, it's just incompetence everywhere when it comes to fixing the
hmm
line.
I know. I mean, I was hearing rumors the other day that Creed Humphrey could win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, there was even a tweet by PFF I think that had him in there in the running.
So, and even like uh Chicago apparently drafted a fourth round offensive lineman. My
Mm-hmm.
buddy was saying in Discord, and he's been doing pretty well for them.
Chicago
But
drafted a fourth. Whatever the case is, I'm not surprised, bro. I'm really
yeah,
not surprised if they drafted a fourth round O lineman and it's working.
yeah. I just want to clean house. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want Judge next year because it's just gonna be the same old shit. And I mean, and I'm gonna be watching the same old shit every every week, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just gonna be frustrating. We need, honestly, we need like a coach that we can be, that can make this team fun to watch again, like a Eric Bieniemy, and even
We just need a coach to make the team good.
yeah, or I mean, even the rumors that I was hearing yesterday, I would be all for Glenn Dorsey as GM.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because look at the players he drafted in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Kelsey, he got in the third round. Tyreek Hill, he got like in the fourth or fifth round. And I mean Patrick Mahomes too.
Mm-hmm. Lamar says we need an outsider. I agree. I don't want Dorsey. Highsmith is who he wants. Is Highsmith the other rumored candidate? I'm guessing.
I guess. But I mean, we all know, I think we all have a feeling what's going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and that's Judge is going to pick the next GM,
Yeah.
which I mean, I hope it works out, but I just have my doubts with Joe Judge
Yeah. Yeah. What up,
because
Big Play Slay?
I know you were all for bringing him back, but like, what's your stance on it
I'm
now?
I'm definitely not all for bringing him back anymore. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence with
Hmm.
bringing him back. It's that's all it is, man. Because I'm not at a tipping point yet, I guess, which would be a shock to some people to just saying, forget this dude, let's get somebody else completely new in here. But I still feel like there's that third year, man. I still do. I don't
Which
know.
which I understand. We
But
wanna,
like I said, I'm on the fence, right? So like if he's gone,
yeah,
it's like it's whatever. Part of
Yeah.
me, part of my mind really does think, hey, you know what?
I
Cleaning house is
mean,
the best thing.
I mean, I'm on the fence too, but I'm more leaning towards letting him go.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if we bring him back, I I'm guess that I'll try to have faith in him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe just maybe this was a fluke year that we're bad, and we somehow prove to the world next year that we can be back in contention.
Mm-hmm.
But in order for that to happen, we have to draft well this year. Like
Mm-hmm.
this year has to be a perfect draft. Like a perfect draft.
Mm-hmm.
We can't miss on these picks because
Yeah.
these picks really will tell what our future's gonna be like.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, Hub,
Yeah.
do, do you think that the next GM is going to draft well for us?
Mike, that's a question I can't answer. I don't even know who the next GM is.
All right, just per se, it's Kevin Abrams.
It's Kevin Abrams. Is he going to draft well? I don't know, I guess. Because if it's Kevin Abrams, then I think Judge has like a lot of control over everything. And if
Yeah.
that's the case, I have faith in the first two rounds being good. Not so much
Hmm.
anything after that. Or, we still
Okay.
have yet to see how those rounds after play
Yeah.
out long term for us. But first
Hmm.
two rounds, yeah, sure, they'll be good.
Okay. I'm this team though, man. This
Mm-hmm.
team brings me a lot of pain. And
Mm-hmm.
even like last week versus the Eagles, it's almost like we gave up.
At least the defense, which I don't necessarily blame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, even going back to Saquon not talking to the media and
Mm-hmm.
making Booker, Glennon, and Fromm have to answer them hard questions. You get what I mean? They're not
Mm-hmm.
prepared to answer them tough questions like Saquon is, like the captain is supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's almost seeming like Saquon is giving up on the season and giving up on the team. Which I mean, I can't blame him, but you're still a captain.
Yeah.
Show that you care.
Mm-hmm. Max says, I feel like a lot of people aren't actually off Judge. They just don't want him to limit GM candidates. Timothy says, will the Giants acquire Carson? I hate if that would happen, Timothy.
Wait,
uh,
what did he say? Acquire
Carson
who?
Wentz from the Colts. Namar says, I would like Monty Ossoff. He was a good general manager for the Titans. Big Play Slay says, we should look into Ed Dodds, Colts assistant. Been one of the sole reasons why they drafted so well the last couple of years. Really doesn't know what he's doing. Very popular name in the Giants community. Trust me, a lot of Giants
Hmm.
fans do know who Ed Dodds is, somebody that we've been thinking about for a minute now. But Mike, let me get your last thoughts before I pop you out, man.
It's always good talking to you, Hub, and You know what? I have faith that next year we will be good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to keep the faith and hope I'm right.
Oh, you cut off there that last part, bro.
I said, I hope I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Hub, it was good talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
And just go Giants and go Knicks.
Hey, yeah, go next, I guess. Mike,
Yeah.
as always, it was great talking to you, man. Have a good one.
Mm-hmm. You too, Hub.
Uh, let's see here. I'm not really missing much from the chat. So Party says thoughts on promoting from within the organization just to have a GM play the puppet to judge who will be given control of player personnel development. Well, that first part of your comment there is essentially what would happen if we promote Kevin Abrams, I think, in my opinion. That's what happened. That's literally promoting from within. And that really just suggests to me that, this being off center annoys me a little bit. And that suggests to me that Judge has control or most control of everything. I don't know. That's just what it seems like. That's just what it would seem like. Who'll be given control of player personnel development? I don't know. If I don't think firing Gettleman changes that much. I think if we do a clean sweep, that much would change. You know what I'm saying? Going deep as to player development. If Joe Judge has any type of sense and is half the coach we thought he was in 2020, then he's definitely looking into changing that because I think it needs to be altered. I think that our player development has definitely left a lot to be desired. So yeah. Without further ado, shout out to Nate. What up, bro?
What's up, Kush? How you doing?
I'm a little bit tired, still recovering a little bit.
Fair enough.
Man, what about you?
I mean, I'm doing. Still Christmas
How's
break.
the house?
It's about the same as it's been for a month now. We're waiting on some stuff to get figured out, and we'll get back to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that took a really depressing turn real quick.
No, I was just like, hey, man, what am I supposed to say to that?
There is nothing to say to that anyway.
Right? Hey, man, listen, bro, I hope insurance give you all a payout. That's all I can say.
God, I hope so. Anyway.
I don't even know what the legalities of that would be.
It's way over my head. My area is football, and I would much rather talk about that.
Which we talking about rumors here? As I'm going through Twitter, we just seeing more Mara things, which is like I'm not surprised.
If I could go the rest of my life without hearing his name, I'd be happier for it.
Oh, word, me too.
I mean, honestly, John Mara can just piss off at this point. I'm tired of him.
You know, this is kind of unrelated to all the football stuff, but because we're talking about Mara, though, it's slightly related. So I didn't know this man was only 67 years old, and I say only 67 years old because Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Eagles, is 70, and John Mara looks like he's about 40 years older than Jeffrey Lurie, bro. I'm like, yo, your football knowledge matches your appearance, I guess.
I mean, John Mara is 67, and he looks like an alien. I'm looking at him right now. He does not look like a human person. He looks like an alien.
We all know he's a lizard.
Disguise.
He's a lizard. The lizard people.
He's the creator of Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh my God! It makes sense now. Yeah. It makes sense now.
The dots are all connecting.
Mm-hmm. What do you want to talk about then, my guy?
I want to talk about the draft. That's what I want to talk about.
Oh, just heading right into it? Go ahead.
I want to. I mean, listen, we have hit that point. I mean, we already hit it a while ago. You are muted, my friend.
Oh, yeah, that's... Anytime you see me turn to the side here and I'm muted, I'm talking to somebody outside.
Got you. Well, we have hit that point, or rather we hit that point a while ago where the Giants' season has well and truly been over for a while now. And it is draft season in New York. And my God, if we can just not even play the rest of these games, that would be lovely. I would never tank. I hate it so much. I think it goes against everything football stands for. But my God, I don't even want to watch these last 4 games. I'm so done. I am in draft mode. I have been scouting for the last week. I am fully in prospects mode. I'm not even thinking about, like, what's our game plan? How are we going to win as many of these last games as possible? I do not care. I am so far checked out on this season.
Bro, I've been
over
checked
it.
out for a minute now.
A lot of us
Like
have.
a hot minute now.
So, Kush, before we start talking about some of that stuff, my question to you is, how far are you into this draft class?
So my answer is going to remain the same as it always is, which is 0% into it. But that's going to change in 3 days' time. I don't know. It's a personal rule. I don't get into draft stuff until January, and January is 3 days away. So we'll see then.
Fair
Literally
enough.
0% in though.
Can't argue with that. So I'll tell you where I am personally. I have sort of done some picking and choosing of a few prospects, and I am now starting to get into position groups, and I'm going to be knocking a bunch out like just as we go. So the first group I already have done is the edge position, just because it's the most important in my opinion to us. And after that, I'm going to move on to linebackers and then just go from there position by position. So with that said, we are probably in a somewhat similar place of I do not have nearly the knowledge of this class that I will in however many days' time.
And
So-
real quick, I don't mean to cut you off, but this is an interesting question from Max here because this is our upcoming game. He says, do we benefit more with a win or a loss to the Bears? I think actually if we lose, we benefit more because the Bears won their game on Sunday, which means they're at like the 8th pick, but we're still at the 5th. So if we beat them, yeah, sure, their pick comes down to like, I don't know, maybe the 7th or 6th, but like ours goes up as well. Like if we and like Nate, I'm not one for tanking, but objectively speaking, if we lose, it will be better for draft position.
Yeah, I am not entirely sure actually. I think I'd need one of those people on Twitter who analyzes the schedule over and over and over again to tell me. And by the
What up,
way,
Anthony?
Nathan Poland said, "Nate, didn't I tell you Trey Smith would be good?" And in fairness, where I projected Trey Smith to go is pretty much accurate to how he's played. He hasn't been sensational, but he's been decent. He's been solid. The thing is, he just fell wildly too far. Please don't think that on draft days I wasn't sitting there thinking, why is he still on the board? Can Commissioner of the NFL? Oh God,
It's not gonna happen, but I would love for it to.
Let's just take it a step further and say, can the commissioner force him to sell the team? How's that
The
sound?
Rock, y'all think it's a joke?
Rock.
The Rock would fix this organization, man.
The Rock would buy
It's
the
about
Dolphins.
drive. It's about power, and the rest of the NFL will stay hungry while we devour. All right.
I mean, listen, if The Rock was going to buy any team, we all know it would be the Dolphins.
Well, he's a fan of the Giants. He said that before.
What?
So, like, if there's any team he would play for, it would be the Giants in an interview many, many years ago.
The Rock is Miami all the way. Why is he a Giants fan?
I know he was, he's from Miami and everything, but there was an interview many, many years ago where he said that.
He's not just
Like, if there was
from,
any team he played for, he would play for the Giants.
He's not just from Miami. He played for Miami.
I know that. Yes. You think I don't notice?
No, I'm just emphasizing it to you.
I know, but like, I if I could pull up right now, it's like
I know,
an
I
article
believe
from
you.
like just like 2 years ago. Actually, I think it's like 2019. But yeah, no, he said that. So
That is
hey, man,
interesting.
Listen, Rock.
I am not sure why. I mean, it's awesome. I respect him for it, but I am not sure why.
Yeah. By the way, what
Anyway.
up, Cowboy and Nerding Out, Anthony and Ian? Go ahead, man.
Cowboy X Factor. God, I know you're loyal to Cush's channel, and I have a lot of respect for that, but God, I hate the Cowboys so much.
Oh, we
So
got
much.
BTS back here. Definitely gonna have you on, bro. Unless you got a bedtime.
I mean, that's very possible. It's already 10 p.m. He might be falling asleep on us. Anyway, so let's just talk about very generally and broadly the draft then, because if you haven't even started scouting, we're not going to get to too many names specifically, I guess. So just right now, we have, with no numbers or order established firmly, we have a couple of very high first round picks, a second rounder, and a couple of high third round picks, and then normal from there. So in general, I think we all have a fair understanding of what the Giants' needs are, which is a lot. And I think we have a fair understanding of what this class looks like. So in your opinion, how exactly do you want to handle those picks?
So, all of them, or do you want me to? Or do you want me
Just
to
go one by
like-
one.
So, okay, it really depends on who falls to us. I feel like, especially with those first couple of ones. I've said it before. If any of those top two edge rushers fall, I really, really want to take them. And full disclosure, of course, like I just told Nate a couple seconds ago, I am 0% into scouting this class, but certain players precede the draft class, right? Especially with edge rushers, it seems like almost every year. Last year was not one of those years, but almost every year, there's that edge rusher that precedes the draft class that you just know about. You know he's going to be something before you even scout the class, right? And for this year, it seems like it's that dude, Aiden Hutchinson, all right?
And
I feel
Kayvon
like
Thibodeau.
I don't know. I feel like he's surpassed Kayvon, but once again, I actually have to do some scouting. But like, I from what I've heard, it sounds like he surpassed Kayvon, and I've even heard that in addition to pass rushing, and maybe you could speak to this, he's just a better run stuffer. He's a better overall player than Kayvon. What can you say to that, real quick?
I can speak to the Hutchinson versus Thibodeau thing. I will preface with this. I am biased because I was one of the very first Aiden Hutchinson supporters before last season. No one knew this kid's name, and I said, you know what? He's going to be something. And he very wisely chose, after being injured last season, to come back for his senior year. Actually, I'm not sure, but he came back another year. I think it's his senior year. And he evolved his game in every sense. And everyone talks about just how freakish Kayvon Thibodeau is, and it's fair, because Kayvon is a monster physically. He's a beast. But Aiden Hutchinson, even if he's maybe a half step below what Thibodeau is physically, he's still a freak athlete. And he has things in his game. He has what I would call a maturity in his game that Thibodeau hasn't reached yet. So with that said, I think you could say that it's possible Thibodeau has a slightly higher ceiling, but I think Aiden Hutchinson at this moment could step onto an NFL field and have a double-digit sack season at this moment. Like before even having an offseason with the team, before any sort of physical conditioning the NFL will do. I think right now, if he was restarted this season in the NFL, I think he'd get double-digit sacks. The dude is a monster. And on top of that, like you're talking about, he is by far the best run-defending edge defender in this class. And we'll talk about Devin Lloyd at some point, I'm sure, by the way, whoever commented that.
So going back to, my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off, but going back to that question as I highlight a couple more of these comments real quick, and we definitely will get to Devin Lloyd because it relates to how I answer your question and relates to what I was saying, depends how it falls. If any one of those two guys are there, I'm taking them. Unfortunately, I have a feeling both of them are going to be gone, which is going to make me kind of sad. But if both of them are going to be gone, guess what? I think it's a no-brainer. You got to go O-line. You have to go O-line. I personally would really, really want to go tackle. I know a lot of people love Linderbaum out of Iowa. And like I said, 0% in. Maybe when I start doing it, I see the love as well. Unless he's like a Quentin Nelson type of hype up inside offensive lineman, I'm not sure if I'm spending like the 5th overall pick on him, but I'm definitely willing to spend a 5th overall pick on a franchise tackle to put on the other side of this line for sure. And with that second pick, the one thing I will definitely entertain doing is trading down, both for cap space reasons and to get more picks reasons. And I still think with a trade down into the teens, you could still get a very, very good inside O lineman. Or with the trade down, maybe you could get a really good linebacker. But I really don't, and this is what relates to Devin Lloyd now, even if we stay pat and we don't trade down, I feel like this has happened in each of the last 4 drafts for the Giants from 2018 all the way to now, where there's a good linebacker prospect, and Giants fans understandably want to take them so bad. In 2018, it was Roquan Smith, I think. In 2019, it was Devin White, right? In 2020, it was Simmons, and in 2021, it was Parsons.
Don't forget Patrick Quinn.
Patrick Quinn, what was that, 2020 as well?
Yeah, same class as Simmons.
But Simmons was like, because we had like the 4th overall pick, so Simmons was the name being talked about. Yeah. So like in each of those 4 years, I feel like only 2 out of the 4 we could have legitimately taken a linebacker, and it was 2019 Devin White and 2021 Micah Parsons, with the Parsons one probably being like the most ideal time, most prime time, right?
Yeah.
This year, I really don't think we need to take a linebacker first round. I'm sorry. I really think, and this is kind of countering my own argument earlier, where I'm like, you look around the league and you see team building offensive lines, not necessarily through the first round. The reason I don't say that for the Giants is just because of how incompetent we've been, because I don't trust us to build a good O-lineman unless we're spending like first round picks. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. Like I'm taking my best shot at them because that's just how the Giants have been in recent years. So I'm spending two first round picks on the line. And then I've said this before, if I spend 2 first round picks on the line, my second round pick, if, once again, depends who's there. If there's a really good edge rusher, take them. If there isn't a really good edge rusher, look for a really good linebacker, a really good, inside linebacker, because you didn't get that Devin Lloyd or something. And, that's kind of how I'm going to approach it, right? I'll definitely want to get maybe another lineman. Definitely want to get another supplementary edge rusher because that's what they'll be in the 3rd round and beyond, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And for sure, maybe in the 4th round, I'm getting a running back. But, yeah, that would be it. And shout out to Chris in here, Yuri, Josh Valencia, the Philly Eagles fan, Emmanuel. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Let me get this super chat real quick. Shout out to Josh for the $2 super chat. It says, "What's good, Hub? Let's go Dolphins." Appreciate that, man.
They are on a tear.
7 straight wins.
They are. Listen, big ups to the Dolphins for sticking through this season. That is so impressive. The fact that Burns has them so completely Flores, has them so completely bought in and on this train and now competing for the wild card. That is so impressive. That, big ups to the Dolphins. That's huge. And before we talk further about this, I want to go back to something Big Play Slay said. People are saying, and you can make a real legitimate argument, that Karlaftis is better than Thibodeau. I would like to hear that argument. Please type it in chat for me.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pop in Big Play Slay in maybe 10 or 15 minutes or so. Yeah, he's backstage. So in 10 or 15 minutes, you'll get to hear it.
Excellent. I would very much like to. Anyway, though, then in that case, back to what we're talking about. So a lot of what you're saying I agree with.
Hey, shout out to Marjorie, by the way.
Oh, hey, what's up, Marjorie? Good to see you in chat. A lot of what you're talking about I agree with. I 100% feel what you're saying with we should be able to draft later round linemen, but I don't trust us to. That is very fair. I completely understand that. In terms of the edge rushers, because like I said, I have gotten through this entire edge class with a couple of exceptions that I still need to patch up. I will eventually get to all of them by the end of this offseason, I'm sure. But at the moment, I have scouted the bulk of this edge class. There's a lot of edge rushers. A lot of edge rushers in this class. And I think...
So real quick, I don't mean to cut you off. In a situation where we go 2 linemen in the first, what kind of edge rusher would we be getting potentially in the second? Is it a guy that's... I feel like, for a lack of a better term, somebody that could be a number 1, or is it like another Azeez Ojulari type where it's like they're really good, but maybe they're not that take over the game type?
Okay, so I'll answer this in a couple of ways. First of all, we'll talk about what you're saying about Azeez Ojulari. I don't necessarily think that Azeez Ojulari has already proven that he can't be that guy. I think...
Oh, by the way, I agree with you as well, because I'm a big Azeez fan, because I feel like a lot of us forget how young he is, and so I know he still has a lot of maturing to do physically and with his game. So just putting that out there.
So I think at the moment we sort of, I do agree, we have to plan for him not necessarily being that dude, and it's more responsible to draft that way. I agree with that. Yuri is saying a name that I am going to reference in a moment here. When we talk about your overall question of what are we looking at in that situation, first off, it depends entirely on how the draft falls. Every year there's people that rise and fall for no damn reason. There's things that shake out in the draft that we can't predict. But at this very, 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 very early stage, and obviously even without all that wild craziness, there's going to be players that the media gets to and hypes up, so this may not remain true. But I will say this. If we do pass on edge in the first round, we absolutely must hit it in the second round, because there's a lot of guys up and down this draft board that could be really good, but past that second round threshold, I don't think there's any edge rushers that could really be that impactful on the game for us. At that point, you're passing that into the territory of guys whose upside just doesn't reach that threshold, whose upside just really isn't a number 1 guy. So with that said, I think if you are looking in the first, second round, What the nice thing about this draft is, there's a massive versatility. There's not versatility, excuse me. There's a massive diversity in the types of edge rushers you can get here, the types of outside linebackers, the types of defensive ends. So what you're looking for will be there. It's just a matter of getting it. With that said, some of the names you might be looking at are, if we do, say, trade back in the first round and look to take an edge rusher not in the top 10, you're probably looking at a guy like David Ojabo, who's also at Michigan and is definitely the second fiddle to Aiden Hutchinson, but a strong second fiddle. And David Ojabo is a name that is going to rise up boards. People necessarily haven't heard of him yet. There's a lot of people that aren't sure who he is at the moment, but he is edge 3 or 4, I promise, in this class. It's Thibodeau and Hutchinson in any particular order, and Ojabo and Karlaftis for me are neck and neck.
I was about to say, because I've heard you spoke more about Karlaftis in the past, and we see Marjorie in the chat likes him as well. This is the first time I've heard you speak about David.
So David Ojabo also plays at Michigan. He is another freak athlete, and he is, let's just put it this way, he is a dog on the field. This dude is aggressive.
I'm just looking at pictures of him, and this is gonna sound kind of weird, but just by looking at pictures of him, it's the same thing I felt when I first looked at a picture of Aiden Hutchinson. I'm just like, they have the body type I want an edge rusher to have, if that makes sense. I'm just like, they are well-built, and that looks like just a strong defensive end that's going to destroy an offensive tackle to me.
That's
like, both of them have that.
It probably looks like that because that's very true. David Ojabo is a guy that he is physical, he's aggressive, he's a dog. This dude is going to get after it. He's not as polished as Hutchinson is. He's not quite that finished product. That guy that I look at Hutchinson and I say, bam, day one starter. That guy is immediately going to transform your defense. I wouldn't necessarily say that about Ojabo, but I would say that he has the potential to be just as good as those Hutchinson Thibodeau guys.
You know what, bro? I'm going to say this. I don't mean to cut you off again.
But you've said that 3 times. Just cut me off.
I know, man. Listen, but it must be said, because just like with the tackle thing, where I'm like, if there's a reason I want to draft a tackle in the first round because we just been incompetent doing otherwise. Same thing with the edge. Like, we wouldn't even be talking about, the potential of Ojabo and saying we need a for sure thing if we could develop edge rushers, right? Like, if we had a good staff that could actually develop players, if we take Ojabo, maybe he does develop into that guy you're talking about, and it's not even a discussion.
Well,
I feel like, for example, let this dude go to the Ravens. I feel like he'll probably be one of the best edge rushers in the league in a year or two.
Very possible. And I can see him going to the Ravens also. Him and Jason Owe together is a monstrous combination. And if either A, he falls, or B, the Ravens trade up, I could definitely see that. But with a response to what you're saying there, just to be clear, I don't even necessarily think it's a case of, he needs to be developed. It's sort of a case of, will he be good or great? That's what I see with Ojabo. So that's what you're looking at in the later first. And granted, it's very possible, and I can definitely see that not being the case. I can see him going top 10 also if he gets hyped up. But yeah, moving on from there, you're looking at guys in the late first, early second type range, which is not necessarily what I value them as, but more as what people are talking about. And now you're talking about guys like Jermaine Johnson, who I forget who said it. It might have been Yuri who said Jermaine Johnson. Yeah, Yuri Andalez in chat said, it wouldn't shock me if we get Jermaine Johnson, a former Bulldog. So Jermaine Johnson went to Florida State as a transfer this year, and my God, this dude is a freak. He is a raw athlete. He is aggression. He has a hell of a swim spin combo. Great talent. Just not necessarily a finished product. Jermaine Johnson needs a little bit of work, a little bit of sanding the rough edges, and it just isn't quite all in place yet. It also should be said. Do you think this
team needs a finished product, or is it more a case of we can't afford to get an unfinished product?
I think it's all a question of what Patrick Graham wants, and I'm going to get to that in a second. I promise. I will reference that in a second when I put a little bow on this whole conversation. But Jermaine Johnson is probably the first name you're going to look at there, just because he's I guess being hyped up the most at the moment. But again, it's very possible that changes. And when we are talking about these guys, there's a lot of other names that need to be factored in, such as you, I'm sure, are you're very familiar with Big Pat's knowledge of the draft. He's one of the bigger, I guess, scouts in our little YouTube community. And one of his favorites is a guy by the name of JJ Enagbare, real name Kingsley Enagbare from South Carolina. And he is also a monster. Enagbare could be one of the biggest steals of the draft, very possibly. Also not quite a finished product, but in that same boat of really excellent talent, a couple of great moves, just needs a little bit more in the bag. So with that said, those are sort of your early second round guys that you're looking at there. And then there's other guys in the mid-late second round moving on to the bordering the early third round that also could be very good, but you're looking at is not necessarily in that same tier. And now you're looking
another guy I've heard of, but I'm not sure where he would fall. Is where's he out of? I think another guy out of Georgia. Right? Like this was his year out of Georgia.
Nolan Thomas, or Nolan Smith rather.
Is it Nolan Smith? It probably is Nolan Smith, right?
He's the highest rated Georgia edge rusher.
Yeah, like there was a guy out of Georgia that I've also heard of, but I'm not
Jermaine
sure
Johnson transferred from Georgia to Florida State. If that's what you're thinking of.
I know you would clarify that. That's why I'm like, okay, he's not the one I've heard of, but I've heard of Jermaine Johnson. But maybe it is Nolan Smith. Like, is he a second, third round guy or something?
I wouldn't put him there. I'd put him much later than that. I would bet you're probably thinking of their defensive tackle, Jordan Davis, who is one of the biggest monsters I have ever seen on the interior. But that is another conversation for another day. But just getting back this edge class quickly, once you get past some of those names, you're looking at guys that are a little more, I guess, stereotypically developmental. You're looking at a guy like Arnold Ebiketie, who has massive potential. He's out of Penn State, by the way. Massive potential, incredible physical talent, very raw, needs a lot of reps. That's a guy that, so his big problem is...
Isn't there also a good tackle out of Penn State coming out?
Are you thinking of Rasheed Walker?
Yeah.
I haven't scouted him yet, so I don't want to speak out of my ass here, but he's not really on my radar at the moment. I will look and let you know. But back to Ebiketie. Arnold Ebiketie is a great physical talent, has a couple of really nice moves in his back pocket. His problem is there's times when he's on the ball, and there's times when he gets off with great pace and his first step is great, and he will win the pass rush move a lot. There are other times where he is a mile late and the ball is snapped and he is stuck in the mud and he's out of the play completely. So Arnold Ebiketie is a case of, if you think that your team is not going to be capable of developing a player, don't draft him, because he needs some help. He needs some development. He needs some time. And then I would put in that same tier a guy like Isaiah Foskey out of Notre Dame, who's going to be drafted higher, but as a pure edge rusher is kind of in that same tier. He's not quite the pass rusher as a lot of other guys on this list, but Isaiah Foskey could be, and I like him as a fit for us, Isaiah Foskey could be the Kyle Van Noy of this defense. Notre Dame does a lot with him. They even have him in coverage on some snaps. He's a great athlete. He can move very well in space, and he can rush the passer also. Again, he's sort of the Kyle Van Noy of this defense in the sense that he can wear a lot of hats. He can do a lot of things, and he can be a really good situational pass rusher for us. So Isaiah Foskey, also a name to watch. And then just because people in chat are saying his name, I will acknowledge it. Someone is saying Drake Jackson, and I will just be honest, I don't like Drake Jackson. I think he sucks. I just don't think he's good. I think he lacks the power and aggression to make it in this league. I don't think he's going to do much. I will go back and look at his tape again. I admit I haven't watched him since the first time I did, which was about halfway through the season. Maybe he's put some better stuff on film. Maybe. But I just don't like him. Nathan Poland said Olave at 5. I would
As
cry.
in Chris Olave?
I would legitimately cry.
The wide receiver?
I would just...
Okay. But before we get to that, I want to give a shout out to people that popped in. Yuvraj was in here for a second. Luann, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Marjorie says, question, last wide receiver to score a touchdown for the Giants this... Oh, my God. Who was the last wide receiver to score a touchdown for the Giants this season? I'll be honest with you. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Wasn't it Chris Myrick? But he's a running back,
No,
right?
he's a tight end.
He's a tight end, Chris
And a
Myrick?
bad tight end. I am not sure,
wide
Marjorie.
receiver? Marjorie.
How sad is it that this is a thing?
I don't know. You're going to have to drop that answer. Mike Nixon said Rasheed Wallet is a dog.
And by the way, Big Play Slight said a few names. He said Zach Harrison, Enigbare, Myjai Sanders, and Johnson are dogs. So I do want to talk about this for a second because those are a lot of good names he just brought up. So first off, I'll just go in the order he said them. I think Zach Harrison should go back to college. I think he should go back for another year. He had a really, really disappointing season this season. And as a raw athlete, I just don't think he's there. I think he needs to shed a couple of pounds, get faster, add some tools to his... Oh, my God. Really, Marjorie?
Week 7?
Jesus
I'm not surprised by the name as I am by the week, bro.
Jesus Christ.
Week 7? Oh, my God. That's
Wow.
ridiculous.
That's unreal.
Okay.
Anyway.
Continue.
So just to go in order he named them, Zach Harrison I think should go back to college. I think I would be willing to risk a pick on him, but it would be a late pick. Zach Harrison needs to add more tools to his bag. I think he needs to shed a couple of pounds and get a bit lighter and faster. But I don't think this is the year for him. I think next year is his year. Enigbare I already talked about. Myjai Sanders I just don't think is versatile enough. I think he can win with some speed, but I don't think he has the power to get it done just yet. And I think if an offensive tackle quick sets and gets to the edge, he's pretty much out of the bag. But it is possible for a guy like him to develop and to get better and to round out his skill set. So I'll say that. And then he talked about Jermaine Johnson, who I also talked about. So I just wanted to acknowledge that because those are some good names he brought up.
So I can't speak for Nate, but I could certainly speak to myself in response to Darth Vader real quick. Because I feel like I've said this a lot of times, so it's going to be like being a dead horse. But the only reason I truly want Daniel Jones on this team next year is to be a cheap bridge quarterback option. Because as a fan, I fully intend to replace this man in 2023. That's not me having hate for Daniel Jones, because unlike y'all, I've been saying he's not the main problem with this team. And I feel like a lot of fans realize that after they saw just how terrible Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon can be. But I've also said, like, yo, listen, man, use his cheap contract to your advantage next year and then get whoever the new quarterback is the year after. Simple as that.
Yeah. So I'm not sure I've given my take on this on a stream. I think I've talked about it in a Twitter space at some point, but I'll say my piece on Jones real quick. I think, first off, I'll get it right in the open. I don't want to get rid of him. I want to keep him around next year. And I'll say this. The reason I want to keep him around is not as much that I want him around and less that and more that it makes no goddamn sense to get rid of him. In no way does it make any sense. Number one, this quarterback class is terrible. Number two, all of the quote-unquote excuses that are made for him are very valid excuses. And he has shown in a few games this year that when the entire team isn't working against him, he can get it done. And I think he does deserve another year in order to just hope that the organization doesn't fold him around him again. But with that said, it's less about that and more about the fact that it makes no sense to draft a replacement this year, number one, because this quarterback class is terrible. And number two, we have the opportunity right now to build up the team before potentially drafting a replacement next year, which is what we should do in that case. So with that said, it's a two-pronged issue of, number one, it makes no sense to get rid of him this year. If you're gonna find a new quarterback, do it next year. It makes no sense right now, logistically and with the resources available. And number two, I do think Jones deserves a legitimate shot. A shot I don't think he's gotten yet. So in general, no, I don't want to get rid of Jones. I don't want to move on yet.
And then Lucas says his contract is fully guaranteed. Another reason the contract is fully guaranteed.
Sure, yeah.
Nathan says, if we get utterly embarrassed these last 2 weeks, could we see Judge get fired?
No shot.
I doubt it.
No shot.
I doubt it.
Judge is sticking around.
Part of it is also because I feel like we all hate Mara with good reason right now. But one thing happens if John Mara fires Joe Judge, and that is he would be going back against his word, which I know sounds like a small thing, but it's really a big thing because he promised fans that he's not going to have a quick trigger finger with coaches, and he's going to give them, a fair amount of time. Now, whether judges had a fair amount of time or not is up for debate, but his quick trigger finger has always been 2 years. So if he goes back on that, like I said, some of y'all might think it's a small thing, but that it's not, because if he goes back on that, you can't trust anything, like any type of promise this man makes in the future with a coach, even if it's a good coach. You know what I'm saying?
Nathan Poland said,
go ahead.
He said the name. Watch out.
Hakeem?
He said Ikem Ekwonu's name. Big Pat's about to burst through the wall like the Kool-Aid man.
And with that being said, let me pop on BPS so you all could have. Who
yes,
was the
please.
Yo.
So by the way, Big Place, just so you know, I did see you in
and
chat.
shout out to G-Man 7.
I did see you in chat say that it's not your personal take, so I 100% understand that. Just please explain to me what the idea is.
Well, they think he's better because I don't understand why people think he's better, but they said I've seen a couple of videos of some content creators saying that Karlaftis is better because of the one bad game that Thibodeau had against Utah, I believe. Who was he playing?
A very, very good team, by the way.
Yeah, he played that team, Utah, and people didn't like how his rush defense was in that game. So,
everyone knows he's not a great run defender.
Yeah,
yet.
I didn't understand that, so I kind of had to put that in the chat for you guys.
No, yeah, I understand. I mean, with Thibodeau, I think it's clear to a lot of people that he's not quite at his potential yet. He's got room to grow, to be sure. He's sort of, I guess, to put it in the best terms I can, he's a diet Myles Garrett in terms of a product and a prospect. So if you're going to say that Karlaftis is better than him based on one bad game, that's inane. That makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah. What up, though, Kush? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. What's up? How are you?
I don't want to gloat too much about the win.
No, listen. You know what,
bro?
Listen, I'm going to say this one time. I'm going to say this one time. You deserve to. You deserve to.
Yeah. I'm also going to say this. I mean, we split on the season 1, but I don't know.
We should have split.
I don't blame you if you haven't been watching like content for Giants, because obviously you're an Eagles fan. But if you have, you would have realized that this team checked out about like 3-4 weeks ago.
Oh,
man. This team
been
checked
over
out
for a while.
minute ago.
We should have swept you. Honestly.
Nah, I don't think so.
Nah, that's like me saying that's like me saying we should have swept you all last year. So how do you feel about that?
I mean, you kind of should have swept us in that last year.
I think we should have swept them last year. I just don't think you should have swept us this year.
I only say that because there was many times in the red zone that first game where we could have scored. There
was also 4 turnovers from your team.
Yeah, you lost that game.
No matter
fully.
what you're doing, you having 4 turnovers, man. That ain't winning your games.
I don't think you can make an argument that the Eagles deserve to win that game this year.
I wanted that game so bad too.
We want every game we play against you guys.
Listen, bro, we went from 4-2 in the division to 2-4. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we're looking at the playoffs right now. Hopefully,
unfortunately.
Yeah, Ikem. My bad.
Ikem Ekwonu's a beast.
Yeah, Ekwonu, his rush run blocking is really good to me.
He's a mauler.
I think like the best run blocker in this draft.
Sedan, unfortunately,
I don't know about that though.
He might be. I said might, not the best.
That's
Sedan,
a bold take.
real quick to respond to Sedan, because Miz has come on here and ranted really great points about this. So it is getting changed, but unfortunately not until the 2023 season or something like that, I think, or maybe it is the 2022 season. But it's changing. It's just not happening as quickly as we would like it to.
At least it's happening. That's something.
Yeah.
I still cannot believe it was 3-3 at half. I just could not.
God.
How the fuck?
Hey, you want another example of our team checking out that game, man? Like, it was 3-3 at half, and I think somewhere in third quarter they were like, nah, we're not doing
By the way,
anything.
I tweeted this, and I think you actually saw this, Kush. Tell me that wasn't a high school football game being televised on national TV.
That was the worst football game, as has been most Giants games.
That was a high school football game.
And I said this as well. I'm like, this just goes to our coaching staff more than anything. The Texans scored 41 points and we scored 9
against the Chargers too.
Come on, bro. Like, what are you doing?
The Chargers defense isn't really that good to me, honestly.
I mean, it's not elite, but when you have a defense with Joey Bosa on it, and you have a defense with Derwin James and Kenneth Murray, and some decent corners, it's something at least.
Mm-hmm.
Also, by the way, Nathan Poland said, Eakim and Evan Neal to the Giants, please. Listen, I'm not going to say that I don't really want an edge in the first round, because I do. I really do. But if that happened, we would have one of the best run-blocking offensive lines in the division by far.
It would be a
monster.
Is Eakim a tackle as well?
Yeah,
so Eakim Ekwonu played tackle this year, and he's one of the best left tackles in football, but previously he played guard. So, and the same thing with Neal, by the way. He also played guard. Either of them could very easily slot into guard, and we could put the other one at right tackle, so Andrew Thomas stays at left tackle.
So who would you rather play right?
I don't care even at all.
Okay.
I got a question to you, both Giants fans.
Go right ahead.
Would you guys mind Linderbaum? Because
I'm a
big fan of Linderbaum.
Not at all. I mean, that's not even a question to be asked. I said it earlier, right? I was like, I'll probably. Oh no, actually, I didn't. I said the opposite. My bad. Where I was like, I'm not sure if I take Linderbaum at 5, but if we stand pat and he's there at like 8 or something, I'll take him. Even at 5, I'm not gonna complain if we get Linderbaum. If because the way everybody's talking about this guy, people are talking about him as if he's the best lineman, period, in the class.
Here's my thing about this. And first off, it's very possible that at his position, he is the best lineman in the class. It's very possible. But let me put it this way. I wouldn't be mad if we drafted him at 5 at all, because he could be that good. He could be worth that pick. The thing is, centers are so undervalued in this draft. And look at what happened with Creed Humphrey last season. It is entirely possible, and I dare say likely, that he slips down to the late first round or maybe even farther than that, which is stupid and terrible and makes no sense, but you can say that about a lot of stuff in the NFL. And again, look at what happened with Creed Humphrey last year. I would feel very mixed emotionally about that, because number one, we got a great center. It's great. We got a player that I think is a slam dunk pick, and I'm like, woohoo, we got someone to anchor our offensive line. But there's always going to be that little voice in the back of my head that says, wait, we could have gotten him later. We could have waited. And it's not for sure, and maybe the NFL pulls its head out of its ass, and maybe someone takes him where he should be going. But centers just do not get the respect they deserve in draft classes, which makes no sense whatsoever, but it's just the way it is. And G-Man says Eakim is a Pro Bowl guard, which very possible.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Nate, because I was trying to make that argument to Joe. If y'all know Joe.
Yeah, sure.
And I think it was a stream with Logan or something. I think it was on his channel. I told him, like, you could still get Linderbaum because he's a big fan of Linderbaum. You could get him at, like, 16 or 17 if you trade down.
Very possible, yeah.
Because you have 2 picks. One of those picks you might trade down because
I think we should.
Know who your GM is going to be. So you could still get Linderbaum. And to Nate's point, which I agree with, you could get him because centers are undervalued in this league for some odd reason.
Which makes no sense.
Even though they're like an important position in the NFL.
I think center is the second most important position on the offensive line. Number 1 being left tackle.
I agree with you. I mean, I've always said that if you could get your tackles and center, which isn't easy, but if you get those specific 3 out of your 5 figured out, you got the whole 5, in my opinion. Yeah.
And by the way, Yuri Andalez says Eakim is the Rashawn Slater because people projected Slater to be a guard, but he's a tackle. I agree that he's the Rashawn Slater of this class, but for different reasons. I don't think anyone's projecting Eakim to be a guard. I think a lot of people are just saying that because he could be a guard and because he has experience playing high-level football at guard, that just makes him all the more valuable because he is a blue-chip left tackle prospect that also has the versatility to play guard. And I referenced the Packers' offensive line, which for a long stretch of time was one of the elite lines in football for a good 5 years there. And what made them so great is they were incredibly versatile. Everyone on that line played at least 2 positions. They could do different things. Injuries were never a huge problem for them. They could always bounce back. And that was something that I thought, like, when you look at that, versatility in an offensive lineman is very valuable. It's why Nick Gates, before his injury, was so valuable to us. You could slot him in basically anywhere you needed him to. We ended up putting him at full-time center, which worked out very well while he was healthy. And he became a big part of our offensive line shift for that reason. So I think Ike Ekwonu and Evan Neal both have that. Ike Ekwonu a little bit to a higher extent because he has more recent tape at guard than Neal does. And I think he sort of lends himself to the position better just because Neal's height and length, while spectacular for a tackle, might be a little bit cumbersome at guard in that tight space. Hard to say. I think he'd still be a mauler, obviously. But for me, I just look at Ike Ekwonu, and I think, number one, he is technically just as good, if not better, than Evan Neal. He just doesn't have... You can't coach 6'7", 355, obviously. So I think, number one, Ike Ekwonu is an excellent technician, blue-chip pass protector who has a lot of run-blocking stuff to him. And number two, he can also play guard for you. So there is absolutely nothing stopping us from taking Evan Neal, seeing an edge rusher that we like go off the board, saying, well, that's unfortunate, and then turning around and taking another incredible offensive lineman in Ike Ekwonu and saying, hey, guess what? We have Ike Ekwonu at right guard now, or left guard now, whatever you want to do. Deal with it. And it's hard to say that you can.
And I just want to say real quick, Nathan, listen, it's unconventional, but like, you're right. That would fix the... I don't know how you mess up if you spend every single pick on the O-line.
We are the Giants. We'd find a way.
Bro, how? How, Sway?
Damn,
you spend 8 straight picks on the line and you telling me it still ain't fixed?
Mike Nixon.
Come on.
Mike Nixon just said, let me ask you, Nate, what do you think of Kenyon Green from Texas A&M? Kenyon Green is a monster. He also is not being talked about enough, and it'll be interesting to see where his sort of position on the draft board falls.
What do you, Nate, what do you think of Charles Cross?
Charles Cross, I haven't looked at enough. I've heard great stuff. Yeah. He's out of Mississippi State, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard great things. I will be looking at his tape. I promise you that. But right now, I am not in the business of talking out of my ass about prospects I don't know anything about.
Yep.
So I will defer to your take on that.
Yeah, there's a couple guys: Cross, Evan Neal, Zion Johnson.
A monster.
Oh my God, you got Zion Johnson in the second round. You could get
Zion Johnson's solid. I don't think he's a beast or anything, but he's solid. He's a solid pick.
Mm-hmm.
God almighty, though. Evan Neal is...
34-10. That's all I'm saying. I'm playing.
I'm sorry?
I'm playing. I'm just trying to make an Eagles joke.
I didn't even hear what you
I was
said.
literally about to say, because we got an Eagles dude on here, I got to ask, just out of respect, what do you want to happen out of your season now, man? I feel like in Week 12, I told this to Philly Notion when I went on his channel for his stream back on Sunday after the game. I was like, in Week 12, the Giants and the Eagles were in the same position, and then, only one team capitalized. So where do you want your team to go from here now?
The playoffs. I mean, you're 8-7. You need to win 2 games against Washington and Dallas. Dallas is probably going to rest most of their starters that game because if the Packers win out, then that just makes them think we can't get that first seed, so we might as well just rest their starters against a team we know we can easily beat. So there's no reason we shouldn't win these next 2 games to push us in that 6.
Let me ask you something, Big Play Slay. I have a question for you. So I'll preface this by saying I think it's fair to say that the Eagles' schedule this year has been pretty easy. You've had a lot of games against not so tough teams, and nothing against that. It's you take advantage of the wins you can get. But let me ask you this: as a team that clearly, and whatever you want to say about it, clearly has not had a problem sacrificing the present for the future, which, whatever you think about it morally, is good strategy. What do you think is, I guess, the prescient move? What do you think is better for your team? Going to the playoffs now and getting that experience when I think it's fair to argue you don't really stand a chance in the playoff field making a deep run, or accepting that fact and not necessarily tanking, but also not necessarily going as hard as you possibly could to get that wild card spot, getting a better draft position, and saying, okay, we had a good season, let's build up for next year.
Okay. I'll put it this way. I want to win football games. And if we can do that with a young team and you can get valued experience by getting into the playoffs, I think that can help the team out a lot going into next year. Because this offseason, Eagles fans, including myself, will probably say, we're going to go back to the playoffs again next year based off of what we've seen this year. So you would have to think that the Eagles would want to get into the playoffs. But what I think they should do is at least fight to get there. Because you're 8-7 right now. You have a chance to win both of your next 2 games to put yourself at 10-7. And you can possibly face a healthy Dallas squad in the first round.
Yeah.
In the last time we played Dallas, we only ran the ball 3 to 2 times. And if you look at Dallas this entire season, one bad thing about that defense is they can't stop the run. And we've been at the top of rushing stats ever since we finally ran the ball. So I want some valued experience in the playoffs against a team I think we have a chance to beat.
So I will say this. First off, I think that's entirely the right attitude. I think that's exactly the way you should be approaching it. If I was in your position, I'd be saying the same stuff. Second off, about the Cowboys, because that is something you brought up, we should talk about it. Number one, I think in a vacuum, the Cowboys could and probably would stomp you. It's nothing about you guys as a team, but just the Cowboys right now are on fire.
Yep.
The Cowboys at the moment are as hot gets in the league. Everything's working for them. All systems go. And I will say that, can you, by the way, Kush, can you deal with the guy in your private chat and StreamYard right now, please? But moving on from that.
Oh.
I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I just noticed this man popped in.
Yeah.
Donald Trump with no profile picture in the back. You realize you're not getting in, right, bro?
Yeah, I hope he knows that. Anyway, though, back to what we were talking about here. I think, all things being equal, the Cowboys could and would stomp the Eagles' guts out. But
I agree.
I will also say the one thing I've said about the Cowboys all year long, in the face of logic, in the face of statistics, in the face of good, strong arguments, is that I do not believe in the Cowboys in the playoffs. I just don't believe it. I will believe it when I see it. And
I'm right there
no matter
with you.
how strong their season finishes, whether they're the 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, no matter what it is, I just do not believe in the Cowboys' ability to not choke in the first round of the playoffs or the second round of the playoffs. So until such time as the Cowboys can actually get that thing done, I will honestly side with you in saying that I think there's every chance they get their hearts broken by a division rival in the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep.
So I will say, guys, because I do have 2 legitimate people backstage, I'm gonna ask y'all to wrap it, and we'll get this thing closed up in about 15 minutes.
I agree with you, Nate. I don't think we will beat Dallas, but the 2 teams I could see them losing to, and I do see them losing to, is the Packers and the Rams, and possibly the Niners if they get there. I could see the Packers.
What about the Cardinals?
I just don't trust that run defense for the Cardinals. And
the Cardinals are a wild card.
Yeah, and the Buccaneers, I think they can beat them personally. I think they really can beat the Buccaneers. They don't have Godwin and Mike Evans, and their secondary sucks. And you saw what happened.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem.
Dude, okay,
with what
so
you
dude just popped back in.
Let me
no, real quick.
No.
So the Donald Trump dude just popped back in. His name now is Lamicki James.
But listen, big play slide. Here's my problem with what you're saying. And again, I'm going to go in the face of logic, in the face of statistics, and in the face of what is a very solid argument. Are you willing to bet against Tom Brady in the playoffs?
No, I don't want to bet against him. Because it is Tom Brady.
If he was playing with our roster, I wouldn't bet against Tom Brady. Yo. Tom Brady in the playoffs is a different animal.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just could see them beating him.
I can absolutely see the Buccaneers losing. It's just that I also at the same time cannot envision a scenario where I am on a stream talking about an upcoming playoff matchup and saying, yeah, I think Tom Brady's going to lose this playoff game. I just don't see it. There's no world in which I will ever be confident that Tom Brady isn't going to pull something out of his ass and completely ruin everyone's hopes and dreams and be the absolute villain that he is and Darth Vader his way to another playoff win, another conference championship game, another Lombardi, whatever it is. We've reached a point now where if Tom Brady really, 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 really wants it, odds are he's going to get it.
Yeah, I just cannot see them beating the Packers in Lambeau with Aaron Rodgers. I don't see that happening.
Haven't we said this exact thing about Tom Brady
multiple
before?
times.
I don't
Multiple
see
times.
them beating the Packers in Lambeau.
It's so hard for them to beat that team.
But once again, though, guys, I gotta get to the last two, so let me get last thoughts.
Yep.
But once
Peace out,
first of all, though, appreciate you BPS in enemy territory, and 100% appreciate Nate dropping the draft knowledge. And a week from now, when I have started, I definitely want to talk about it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Giants suck, and peace out. I'm playing. Yeah,
Listen, man.
I can't be mad. I can't be mad.
Listen, bro, give us like 10 years, bro. Give us like 10 years.
Yeah, just give us another decade. Just give us another decade, 2 coaching staffs, 3 new quarterbacks, and a new owner.
We'll get out of it. Listen,
We'll get there.
Give us the next Manning. That's it. That's all it's gonna take.
Oh, yeah, just
Was
give
that
us until
2026?
Arch.
Was that 2026, right?
I have no clue.
Listen, or Bryce Young. But
Well,
yo, man, I'll see you, bro.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, bro. I appreciate you. Till next time.
What up, DJ? How you doing, man?
Yo, my God, yo, Hub, what's poppin', bro? What's going on, man? How you
I'm
doing,
good,
man?
bro. What's up?
Chilling. Yo, man, so I heard the conversations, man, about what's going on, man. So about the Giants, man. So this is the Giants Eagles. I mean, it ain't really much to talk about, regular Giants things, man. But I did want to talk about, the outside GM news, right? How the Giants are gonna an outside GM from an outside organization, right? So here's the question, right, Hub? If they go with an outside GM, like John Dorsey, right? And they get him from the Lions, right? And this is a man that got 17 Pro Bowlers in the league, right? So they go with John Dorsey, they go with Ed Dobbs, they go with the guy from the Bills, Joe Soybean, whatever his name is. A guy from a different organization. Would you let that outside GM make that decision on keeping Joe Judge and Daniel Jones? Yes or no?
You're asking me personally.
Yes. I'm asking you personally. Would you let him
The 2 specific dudes you listed or any outside GM? Because for the 2 specific dudes you listed, yes. Any outside GM, I don't know. But the 2 specific dudes you listed are guys that we've seen their work. You know what I mean? We've seen them succeed. So I'll let them do that.
So I'm saying outside GM as far as okay. So if it is an outsider, that means he's not connected to the Giants or Joe Judge. He's the outside general manager. I want the outsider to make that last call.
Mm-hmm.
Or if he wants to keep Daniel Jones and Joe Judge. I do not want John Mara because here's the thing. You want the band back together next year. Correct?
No, I don't. I've been said I'm on the fence with them.
Oh, no. You're on the fence. Okay. So, question. I would move on. Now, that's just me personally. Now, I understand
and to clarify, me being on the fence means if we keep them, I'm just like, okay, whatever. If we get rid of them, same thing. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm just like at a point where it's like, just fix the team.
But do you believe that? Because we all know Gettleman is gone. Gettleman is out, obviously. It's just that by January 10th or 11th, we'll find out he's officially gone. But he's gone really in our eyes for next year. So what you get it? Okay, you get the outsider. I'm going to outside make that call. I'm going to outside make that call and say, listen to me. If we get John Dorsey, which I want either him or Ed Dobbs.
That's what I'm saying. If we get either of those guys, they're making all the calls.
Yeah,
they're making all the calls for me. If we get either of those guys,
I'm getting the guy that drafted Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb. That was a scout for Aaron Rodgers to the Packers. I'm getting that guy in here.
mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't like John Dorsey, but I was told John Dorsey has had successful drafts. The problem is the locker room and inside the organization, they don't like him, whatever. But this is the guy that got 17 Pro Bowlers to different NFL organizations. That is big to me.
Listen, he was there with the Browns when the Browns rebuilded into something successful. He was there with Kansas City right after, and right now he's with the Detroit. I think he is.
I will give him that call, man, because we all know John Mara is the bad owner. We all know John Mara is one of the worst owners in the National Football League. One of the worst. The Giants are one of the worst teams in the league, and I feel like, Hub, I personally feel like the outside GM, needs to make the call if he wants to keep Joe Judge and Daniel Jones. Mara, keep your hands out of this business, bro. Get the outside GM you want, Mara. Take a step back. Let him do what he got to do. Don't touch anything. Don't tell him anything. Whatever. If it is the outside of GM that's been reported by Peter King, don't just let the dude do what he got to do. Don't force Joe Judge and Daniel Jones on this general manager. That's all I want. If he wants to keep them for 1 more year, whatever. I don't see the benefit of keeping Joe Judge here after this year. I'm sorry. He's a bad head coach. I understand we had a lot of injuries. He can make excuses that when me was out, Gates was out, Tony, Galladay, Barkley, Jones out. So I understand that, but he can't coach. He gets rid of timeouts too quickly. And to be honest, I cannot watch 18 weeks of him being assertive in a different year with the same team. I just can't do that. Now Daniel Jones. Okay. The only way he's going in my eyes, bro, if somebody wants him for a first round pick, that's about it. That's the only way I see him out of here. If somebody says, "Yo, we'll give you a first," you can have at it. You know what I'm saying? Or a second. I don't even take a second for him, honestly. Personally.
So where are you with the idea of using him as a bridge quarterback? Because he's going to be cheap.
All right. So here's how I feel, right? Because I feel like this, right? A part of me feels like he's not that good, man.
To be a bridge quarterback?
To be a bridge quarterback, man. Yes.
You telling me he's worse than Ryan Fitzpatrick? No, I don't think so.
He's a game manager. I feel like he's a game manager.
That's what he is. Bro, you realize most, if not all, bridge quarterbacks are game managers, right?
Nah, but you see, but here's the thing, Hub. I want Derek here. That's what I want. I want Carl from Raiders here. That's what I want. Honestly,
that's not a bridge quarterback.
It's not.
No, but let's talk about it though. That's not a bridge quarterback though.
For a year though. But
that's not a bridge quarterback. Derek Carr is a franchise quarterback. He's not gonna sign nowhere for a year.
You never know. He might do it for 1 year. He might.
What reason would he have going from the Raiders, bro, to going to the Giants for 1 year to be a bridge quarterback when he's a franchise guy that's gonna get a big contract somewhere?
You could be right about that. Could be right.
I'm just saying, like, the guys you're bringing up as bridge quarterbacks are proven guys.
But here's the thing, Hub. You cannot. John Mara knows he cannot set a fan base on Jones and Judge, because you're basically selling that. You selling that basically gonna say, all right, next year is a wash year. like Bad Dog said on his video a couple days ago, it's a waste of a year. It's like a bad year, a down year. Basically. That's what they're basically saying. So, John Morrow
Real
needs to
quick,
do
one, but I don't mean to cut you off because Calvin, he's a member, and he said this for a minute. Calvin, listen, you doubted your Cardinals earlier in the season, and they're one of the best teams in the league right now. That's all I'm going to say. They could prove you wrong. I think I have a little bit more faith in the Cardinals than people do when it comes to the playoffs. But now go ahead there, bro.
Yo, like, here's how I feel, man. I'm all for O-line.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Giant fans is sleeping on Kenny Pickett. I am not. I will watch Kenny Pickett. I think he plays it this week. This week, I'm not. If I'm not mistaken, a lot of people saying he's Joe Burrow. I don't know if he is that. I gotta watch him play a game, a real college game, and see how he does on that stage. And then my opinion will change. But right now, bro, we need to fit the trenches, bro.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get O-line and D-line, bro. That's what we need.
That's what
bro.
I've been saying.
Edge,
I'm with you. I've been saying that for a minute.
I don't care if it's the only thing that I care about is the outside GM doing what he does. We need to get the best outside GM to fix his team. Because
here's where I am. I agree with you there. I don't care who the GM is if at the end of the day they take 2 premier linemen and a premier edge with our first 3 picks.
Not Kevin Abrams. You're not something with Kevin Abrams. Kevin Abrams is a money cap guy. That is his job. He's not a general manager. I'm saying you get a guy in here and not some guy that fits with Joe Judge. No. John Dorsey, Ed Dobbs, Joy Sobin from the Bills, and what's the other dude freaking name is, man? Bonganzi, Mike, the assistant GM for the Kansas City Chiefs. The guy name is Mike. Those are my top 4 GMs, right? You bring them guys in here, you get them a contract, and John Morrow, you take a step back. Let them do what they got to do. If they want to get rid of Jones and go get a rookie guy, we live with that as Giants fans. Honestly, we don't want that to happen, but if the outside GM wants it to happen, it is what it is. We can't do nothing about it. Cool. If he wants to hire a different head coach out of Joe Judge, cool, let it be. But I just need the outside GM to come in here, fix this offensive line, fix the defensive line, and I want the best general manager from any organization of a team. Winning team. Not a losing team like the Jets or the Lions. No, those teams have not done good. We need to get a team, a general manager that's having success in the league. You know what I'm saying? Like some dude named Albert Beer said, the Cowboys vice president, the Giants should look at him. From the Cowboys, great. The Cowboys have a great roster, even though we hate them as Giant fans, but their roster is stacked from top to bottom. We just need to fix the team, man. I don't want to lose a general manager. I don't want a puppet. I want a guy that's going to command the organization and that has a blueprint, a plan. How can we get back to the top, and be back to a playoff team and a Super Bowl team down the road? That's what I want as a Giant fan going into 2022. You feel me? Because I'm going to be
I agree with you. Yeah.
If it's Kevin Abrams, I'm not gonna lie to you, Hub. I'm gonna be very, very pissed off if it's Abrams. It better not be Kevin Abrams. It better be. I would even be cool with Louis Redding. If that sounds, whatever. But just let them do what they gotta do to get back to the top. That is it. Don't hold back Judge and Jones on any general manager. That is it. Clean it. Get them out of here. That's one step. The other 2 guys, you get them. You get them out of here with him too. You clean house. You don't bring them back here, because if you bring them back here, what you're basically doing is like, yo, we are going to suck. And as a Giants fan, John Morrow bringing them 2 guys back, for me as a fan, you're not taking this seriously. You don't want to win. You don't want to win seriously next year. because I know next year you cannot sell that, especially to a 4-13 win team and shit. Even though it's not just his fault, but still, Judge cannot use the players to the best of their abilities. But and then listen, man, I cannot watch conservative football next September. I can't do it. We got to clean house. Got to clean house. Get the best guy. Get the best guy in here. I'm praying it's John Dorsey. I know he's old like Gettleman, but still, this man knows what he's doing. He drafted 17 Pro Bowlers. I wish the Giants had 17 Pro Bowlers on the roster right now. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I do too, man. I'm agreeing with most of what you're saying, DJ.
That's how I feel right now. That's how I feel right now, man. Maybe Barkley doing what he does. I don't care about that. Whatever. It is what it is, man. But we got to clean house. That's how I feel right now, man. I don't care about the last 2 games to me personally. It's whatever. I'll just watch just to watch. But yeah.
But yeah, DJ, let me get your last up before I pop Max in here, and then I'll wrap it up.
Copy. Clean house. I'm gonna watch Kenny Pickett this weekend. See how he looks like. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, that's about it, man. You know what I'm saying? It's cause but clean house. Clean the house, get rid of everybody. Start from fresh. Let's start from fresh. Even if Kevin was messed up, I don't care about that. Bring the GM in here. Fix the lines. You fix the O line, you fix the D line, we straight. Because that's how you win football games in this league. And then you get your receivers. Then you get your running backs. Then you get that quarterback. You know what I'm saying? That Ferrari back there. You know what I'm saying? But you got to build. But I need a general manager that's going to build the foundation of the Giants organization. And we need the best GM. Not a guy that's a puppet to John Morrow. I'm tired of that. We had that with Reese. Later on, we had that with Dave freaking Gettleman. I'm going to rip him when he gets fired. You're on your show 2 weeks from now. But, yo, I'm out, though. Go Giants. We Giants fans for life. And, yeah, man, we got to go to this struggle before we rise up. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I got, man. Clean house. Go Giants. I'm out.
Hey, go Giants, DJ. I agree with most of what you're saying as he popped out. Then let me get Max in there. Max, with a great-looking camera, by the way. What kind of camera are you using? And I figured out the brightness. I literally just got a Google Chrome extension to adjust my brightness, so I'm going to use that from now on.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I can give you a couple other pointers when we go offline, too, if you want. But I got the Canon EOS RP. It's a DSLR mirrorless camera. That's what I use for photography, so I just use that. Yes. But I was just popping on here to say what's up. It's been a minute. I've been still settling into the new place, just kind of.
How is it? Are you settled?
Life's been crazy. Not fully. I would say inside of the house is probably 85-90% of the way there. And then when the weather warms up, I'll worry about the garage and all that. But
all that tells me is that moving into a house is a very, very big process.
Absolutely. Yeah, I closed a little over a month ago, so it's especially with 3 kids running around the house, it's not an easy process to unpack and settle. But
yeah,
how have you been, man? I feel like it's been forever since we've actually talked.
It's been a while, but I've been all right. I just ended my semester last week, whatever week the 20th was. I want to say it was last week because that was when I took my last final. That was very, very stressful because it all coincided. The Giants just kind of going down the drain, down the toilet, and my finals happening all coincide within like a month and a half of each other. So that's why I've also there has been a distinct lack of content on the channel, guys. I recognize that. I plan to try and get back on track in January. I've been trying this week, but then I realized, hey, Christmas and New Year's are like a week apart. It's not happening this week. It's gonna happen within the coming weeks after that. So I've just been regular school stress from that. Had my booster shot a couple days ago, and it knocked me out yesterday, man. I was slumped. I was like, oh my God, this feels terrible, but I'm fine now. Even my arm, it doesn't even hurt at all anymore. But yeah, other than that, just I guess doing my thing.
It's always fun, man. So was that your final semester?
No. That was my junior year. No, wait, I am a senior. My final semester, this upcoming one. This one that's gonna happen in spring. Yeah.
Heck yeah, getting close. Got to be excited.
Getting real close. I have no idea what I'm about to do afterward, but it's getting real close.
But yeah, man. I guess I'll give my opinion on the Giants while I'm here. I said in Authentic's overreaction earlier today when he went live, I think that in John Mara's eyes, it doesn't matter how this season plays out, that although this season has kind of been a disgrace, Joe Judge earned his third year last season. Because if we're being real, yeah, the division was terrible, but the roster was much less talented. We hadn't had a second corner. Not even Azeez Ojulari on the roster. Lorenzo Carter got hurt. All these people were out. You could even argue offensive line was worse because Andrew Thomas was not playing really well as a rookie, let's be real. And the last week of the season, we were playing for the division pretty much. So I think you kind of look at both seasons and go, he exceeded the first season, and the second season has been a huge disappointment. So I think in that aspect, giving the third year isn't such a bad idea. Like I said,
and a point to add on to that. Yeah. A point to add on to that real quick, Max, because along that same logic and line of thinking, I've said, once again, I am on the fence, which means there's points that I see for keeping him, and there's definitely points I see for letting him go, right? One of the points I've made for keeping him, very similar thinking to you, where I'm like, he overachieved his first year, underachieved his second year, so which one is the real judge?
Right.
Let's see in the third year which one is the real judge.
Right, and Jones has been out for what week did he go out? What week did he play the Eagles the first time? Week 12. So
yeah, week 12. So he's been out since then.
Right, and you can't really judge the team now without a quarterback, in my opinion. Because, I mean, DJ might not be great. He might not be the answer. He might not even be the future of this team. But he's definitely better than both the quarterbacks we've seen since he's been off the field. So I feel like it's hard to judge the team and their performance, and especially the offense, when it's the playbook of a coordinator that got fired in the middle of the year. And now you've lost your quarterback, half of your offensive line. And I think it's still like a total of 5 snaps where everybody on the offense started together this year. Because, I mean, Shepard's hurt now and Kadarius Toney just came back. So it's like... But yeah, I think after the Dallas game, maybe it was the first Dallas game. When did we play them? I don't even remember.
This season's Dallas just kind of a blur. 5, and that's when he got concussed.
Yeah, and I think at that point is when I started to kind of forget about this season, because I mean we started off 1-5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then DJ goes down with the injury, and I go, here we go again, right? So that's just kind of where it all started, and it never got better. But as far as GMs go, I just don't even care at this point anymore, if I'm being real.
You checked out. You're like completely checked out. Yeah.
If it's Kevin Abrams, cool. Maybe him and Judge can figure something out for another year and we'll see what happens. But really, I think everybody, even no matter who comes in here, I don't know of any real fan that's probably going to be excited for next season based off of what we had this year. You know,
going back to what DJ said, it may be a wash. I mean, it may not, but it's looking like it's going to be a wash year in terms of like, it's just going to be another one of those years in the rebuilds where you can't expect nothing much.
Right. A lot of fans are just going to go into it with a blind eye going, whatever happens, happens. And we're going to go into it with the same expectations we went into it last year with. Because if we're being real, what fan had expectations to be even playing for the division last year?
None.
Exactly. So that's just kind of where I sit. But if you want to close this out, I'll let you close it out. And then if you want, I'll stick around and we can figure out some of your camera stuff. Or if you're good, just let me know.
For sure. I mean, I'll see what we can do if there is anything additional. But I'll close it out right now, man. I just want to say a shout out to Max and every other caller that came on tonight. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And shout out to everybody in the chat. Michael B popped in here as well. He says Barkley doing what Barkley does, get injured. And then Ian said, John Dorsey actually knows how the modern NFL works. I did not turn into a GMO G-Men 7. I was scared for a second there. I was like, is a transformation going to happen in the middle of my sleep? But thankfully it didn't. But shout out to everybody in here, man. It was great seeing y'all. I'm definitely going to try and get some more content up within these next coming weeks, especially after New Year's when I'll actually have some time, out of the holidays and whatnot. But speaking of which, I hope you guys all have a happy New Year that's coming up. And, well, let's end it right here, man.